Hey there, Rocketeers. It is Charlie Rocket here. Hello, hello. It is Thursday, which means it is time for a comic book review. I almost forgot what that meant it was time for. But you know what? It is time for a comic book review. I've been at KatsuCon, so I've been away and skipped one of my Thursdays, which means I'm going to try and do at least 2 comic book reviews before the end of this month. Well, I had you guys vote on which comic book you guys wanted me to review first, since I'm doing all black heroes this month for Black History Month. Riri Williams with Ironheart or Miles Morales with Spider-Man, and you guys went with Riri, to my surprise. Now, you guys may be wondering, Charlie, why are you in a bathroom? And you know what? No shame. No shame. I am hiding from my children. Yep. All of you parents out there know exactly what I'm talking about. I am hiding from my kids. Don't want you guys hearing them yelling, and I do not want to hear it either. So, bathroom it is. Hiding. That's what's going on. Anywho, and I make great videos in the bathroom. I feel like I should reconsider the words I'm using before I say them. Maybe I should just suck that back up. Nope. Reconsidering words again. Riri Williams. Now, this is volume 1 of Invincible Iron Man Ironheart. So that means this has her origin story and all kinds of awesome things. Now, this story is all about black girl magic. Not just with Riri, but also her mom and her best friend are super amazing black women. It's not often you see black women in comics at all. So when I came across 3 in 1, it's super exciting. Anywho, Riri Williams, to begin with, is a super high IQ. She's all about tinkering and creating new inventions. Very much like Moon Girl. Also like Moon Girl, she likes to make inventions that help superheroes do a better job. Now, because of that, she doesn't have a whole lot of friends, but one day, a young girl came to her garage while she was tinkering, and she ended up becoming great friends with her. Now, this friend took an interest in a lot of her inventions, but not only that, she helped her out a little bit because Riri's not great at naming things, so her friend helped her out, kind of completed her, Going forward, Riri and her family, her parents, and her best friend all went to a cookout in the park one day when there was a shootout. Now, when the stray bullets went flying, her stepdad knocked her friend and her to the ground to try and save them, and he actually ended up getting shot, as well as her best friend, and they both ended up dying. Now, when Riri saw her best friend in the hospital, she had a blood mark on her shirt that spread to a circle on her chest, just like the Iron Man suit here. So she decided to go by the name Ironheart, inspired by her friend who passed away. Now, years later, we're fast forwarding a few years later, and Riri is still working on a lot of her inventions. She has created her own Iron Man suit that had a few upgrades. It may have looked like that first Iron Man suit when he was in that cave, but it did have some upgrades in comparison to Tony's newer suits. Now, at this time in the comic book world, Tony Stark is presumed dead. He's dead. She has created this suit that was inspired by his suits, and she's running around, fighting crime. And her mom is well aware that she's doing this. So whenever she gets home from fighting crime, her mom's like, hey girl, did you have a great day? Whatever. Talks to her about her crime fighting. One day a guy shows up looking like Men in Black. He's got this box here, delivers it. They don't know what it is. When they open it, there's a little thing. It says, push me. She pushes the button and bam, she is met with a hologram of the Tony Stark. Now, what is this hologram exactly? It is actually the downloaded consciousness of Tony Stark in AI form. Okay? So basically Jarvis. If you think Jarvis, but he's Tony Stark, that's what that is. So she places the Tony Stark AI into her suit so that he is actually talking to her the way that Jarvis was talking to Tony Stark in his suit. And what he wants to do is he wants to train her. He heard all about her. He learned about her before he passed away. And he wants to train her. And what he does is has her fight a bunch of his suits that flew up and attacked her while she was in her suit. She ends up defeating all of them, which, won't raise any red flags or anything, right? Wrong. Of course, that's incorrect. She ends up, let's see here. She ends up being seen by somebody named Tomo over in Japan. And they had something to do with the death of Tony Stark. It's very important to them that Tony is dead. So they're wondering if this is a new Iron Man or if it is the same old Tony Stark. Either way, they want them gone. So this leading lady, sends Tomo over to murder Riri. In the meantime, we find out that Tony Stark was adopted, random side note, but his biological mom ends up being the one who inherits his company, Stark Industries. So she is actually in charge of Stark Industries at this time. Her right-hand man, who she keeps by her side, is actually MJ. I don't know if you guys knew, but Mary Jane and Iron Man had kind of a thing. I'm not a really big Mary Jane fan. I mean, like, it's weird to me for her to be in this Iron Man comic, number one. Number two, I don't normally like her in Spider-Man either. And then, of course, their lovely AI assistant, Friday. You guys may remember Friday. After Jarvis becomes the Vision, Tony has new voice in his suit, and that is Friday. And Friday is prettybomb.com. If I do say so myself. That's basically just a side note, though. All they're talking about really is the fact that they know Tony was working on finding a girl named Riri Williams and making sure she had everything she needed in order to, I guess, become the next Iron Man. And so they were basically just discussing it. They did not know that Tony Stark's AI had already found her. Anywho, they've been working together to upgrade her suit, and look at that beauty. Bam. Tony sits there and tries to name her like Iron Girl and Iron Woman, and they get into this big argument about how it's not healthy that she hasn't made any new friends since her friend passed away years ago, and that's when she discovers she wants to use the name Ironheart. Bam, there she is fighting alongside. Who is that? Miles Morales? Is that who that is? And so she's fighting with Tony about her inner struggle and about all of her mourning for her friend. And in the midst of her argument with this AI, she is met by the beautiful Pepper Potts. Bam, look at her in this iron suit. Flying down looking fly as anything. So Pepper Potts kind of gives her a few pointers, like, don't give your name out to strangers. Just because I came over and introduced myself, don't be like, hey, I'm Riri Williams. Not a great look. While they're talking, they realize their suits are coming apart and flying off of them. It is because they are met with a bunch of ninjas and Tomo, who is in that suit. Come to find out, Tomo actually is a mutant with powers that allow her to control tech just by wanting to. She's just able to control tech. So now they are without suits, about to fight these ninjas. So basically, Pepper Potts fights these ninjas, holds them off so that Riri can escape. She escapes through an apartment building where she finds a young boy on a computer. She says, hey, let me borrow that laptop. While she's on the laptop, she's able to put Tony Stark's AI into the laptop. He, of course, complains about being an old, stupid laptop. and she's able to tell him what's going on, fill him in. So they've got to find a way to help Pepper Potts, and they thought of something perfect. So he calls one of his suits, bam, the quickest suit so that it gets there fast enough, while MJ and everyone's actually in the building watching this suit fly away. The suit flies off. She gets ready to initiate this plan. She's holding off the ninjas with a fire extinguisher while she tells the young boy she met to hit the enter button when Tony tells him to. Now, while Tomo sees the suit coming, she says, "You guys constantly fall for the same freaking thing. Of course, I'm going to use that armor to create more armor for myself." So she starts to take apart the new Iron Man that just flew over. And of course, that is when the AI tells the boy to hit enter. The enter button actually causes a virus which shocks the whole armor and the woman inside and all the ninjas surrounding. This woman came out ready to fight. Now Riri grabs a sword and acts like she's about to do something. She doesn't know how to do this. Acts like she's about to do something. So of course Pepper Potts calls her Iron Man fist and it smacks Tomo right in the face just in time. Knocks her out. Riri's like, what? Then of course Sharon Carter? Yeah. Sharon Carter shows up with the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., tells Riri that they need to recruit her, and Riri, of course, refuses. She was like, to the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? No, thank you. Miss Agent Carter gets a little bent out of shape about that mess. Says that she needs to learn some respect. Pepper Potts corrects her and says, maybe you need to earn that respect first. Bam, get into it. Thank you, Pepper. Let her know what the business is. Anywho, Riri ends up back home. Her mom was worried sick about her. Has been worried about her just because she's getting in kind of over her head. They haven't really talked about the loss of, her stepfather as well as her friend. This is the mom's second husband who died. All she has left is Riri, so she really just wants Riri to stay safe. So after all of that, Tony Stark goes back to Tony Stark's lab. His AI goes back to the lab and has a whole conversation with Friday. And he says, you know what? I really wanted to talk to you, Friday, about something we wanted to do. And she said, what is that? And he said, we have to protect the good from the bad. And she said, well, how are we supposed to do that? And he says, I'm pretty sure you've already come to that conclusion as well. It's the humans. And then it just shows Friday's shocked face, Tony Stark's kind of evil face. I heard Tony Stark goes evil at some point. This must be it. But that was the end of Volume 1. Bam! Not too bad, not too shabby. Great writing. I left a whole lot out, so there's a whole lot for you to read about if you actually pick this up, and I highly suggest it. It was such a good read. Also, you got to do it for the cause. You got to do it for the for the black girls in comics. Get into it. This was an amazing comic book. I loved all the artwork throughout. It's hard for me to read stuff that doesn't have great artwork, but I love it. Everything was easy to read, easy to follow, and the artwork at the end, gorgeous. This is so cute. Yeah, I love it all. I've loved every Riri Williams, Ironheart artwork I've seen. And yeah, action figures. Get it. But this was a beautiful comic book, and I highly suggest reading it. 10s across the board, okay? We'll get into Volume 2 and so on later on. But that was Volume 1. Intro to Riri Williams. Bam! All right, guys. Well, since I missed one last week, I'm going to really try and get to Miles Morales before the end of this week. We'll see. Hopefully I can do it this weekend. This is thick, though. This is real thick. I got a whole Ultimate Collection here. That's a lot. These are a lot of pages. Okay? But you know what? You probably know most of it from watching Into the Spider-Verse. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, see what was different from the movie. Bam, bam, bam. What they changed. We're going to discuss. But I'll see you next time. Adios, Rock to Years.